Who sent us the note in Poppy Playtime? In case if you guys didn't know, the whole franchise begins with a simple note that says, quote, "Everyone thinks the employees disappeared 10 years ago. We are still here. Find the flower." With a faded Playtime Co logo pasted on the top right corner of the note, with the poppy flower being drawn just below the three big words, "Find the flower." So, who do we think wrote this note? Let's first off rule out who could not have written this note. Basically, everyone besides Kissy and Catnap. We know from the chapter 3 or chapter 4 ARG that Kissy's human self had a passion for writing and drawing. So and she's also allied to Poppy and opposed to the prototype. So that makes her a very easy candidate. But why do I say Catnap? Even though he is loyal to the prototype, which, yes, does disqualify him. Well, in the chapter 5 ARG, in the Poppy Playtime Discord server during the ARG, an account named Seeing Reason said that Catnap keeps writing and posting letters here and there. So he could be a potential candidate, but he definitely literally worships a prototype, and those letters, more likely than not, are just updates on what happened or whatever. You guys can make shit out. I don't know. But yeah, Catnap is disqualified. Kissy is the only eligible candidate. So yeah, Kissy Missy wrote the note, but who sent it to us? That's the bigger question. People have theorized it was Giblet, but excuse me, I don't think it was Giblet, because why would this inside out rodent escape, post a letter, then return? Why would Mr. Not a Hero just simply not escape? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, yes, he has wanted to take down the prototype, but he's also said that he does not plan to stay in the labs forever. So he clearly has an ambition to live outside the facility. So Giblet is ruled out. Who else? Cannot be Poppy. She was locked in the case. Cannot be the toys. They cannot get out at all, except for a few who did get out, which I will get into in a second. Cannot be the prototype. He thinks that our presence is Poppy's doing. He literally says at Lily's tea party to Poppy, quote, "And you repaid me by bringing in an outsider." He thinks that us, the outsider, is in the facility because of Poppy. So the prototype is also ruled out. Now, who are these toys which I was saying could have sent the letter? Because remember, the people who survived the hour of joy and were outside the facility before, during, or after it, why would they send a letter specifically to us, who I suspect is a counselor? Theory coming soon, by the way. A note 10 years later that there are still workers left in the facility a decade later. It just simply does not make any sense. So we know about 23 toys, however, who escaped from the facility. Now, it might be during the hour of joy, but we do not have a specific timeline on when they escaped. So this is on a bit of a more speculative side. Bear with. Let's assume that they escaped just recently. Kissy handed those joyless toys and Gentle John the note, and well, they escaped and somehow figured out how to submit a letter. And since we were a former employee, some theorists think that we are rich, but I'm not fully sold into that theory. But since we worked at the facility and our hallucinations have proven that we feel guilty for everything that went down in the facility, we were likely the perfect candidate to be lured in. And the employee bait was likely the best bait in the toys' opinions to lure us back in. In my opinion, the original goal was always to try to save the orphans, since these quote joyless toys were likely always on Poppy's side, and hence they basically just replaced employees with orphans. That's it, and then submitted the note to us, and that's when the game happens. Basically, yeah, it's not a concrete answer, it's not the best answer, but it's one of the many explanations I can think of. It obviously cannot be the safe haven toys. They are probably some of the weakest and some of the most pacifist toys we have ever seen in the game. Could have been Dewey, but we know that he got near the exit, but then returned to safe haven to protect the safe haven toys. So yeah, that only leaves us with Gentle John and his 23 other toys, or if he was with the 23 other toys, he was one of the 23 toys. So him and 22 other toys. Him or one of the 22 other toys submitted the letter to us, and yeah, that's the theory. Hope you enjoyed.